All right, so you're thinking about adding a deck. I mean, who doesn't love a good deck? Perfect for like morning coffee, maybe some evening grilling. But before you go running off to the store to buy lumber, we got to talk about something really important. Who to hire to build a deck.
Yeah, for sure.
And to help us answer that question, we're going to be looking at some great info from Green Exterior Remodeling.
Oh, they're great.
They're fantastic. They're a deck contractor out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Really good reputation.
Yeah.
So first things first, I think it's really tempting to think
Oh, yeah.
we can do it ourselves, right? You watch HGTV, you're like, I got this.
Totally.
But this is something that it's probably better to leave
Oh, 100%.
to the professionals.
Yeah, it's not like putting together, some IKEA furniture.
Exactly. This is serious destruction. We're talking structural integrity here.
Right. You need to think about safety codes. Like, is this thing going to withstand the elements?
Yeah, and you want it to be safe. You don't want it, like, falling apart when you have a bunch of people over.
Exactly. So choosing who to hire to build a deck, you want to get that right.
Yeah, definitely don't want to cut corners on this.
For sure.
So Green Exterior Remodeling, they talk about a few different types of professionals that you could consider for this kind of project.
Yeah.
And the first one is general contractors.
Yeah, they're kind of, the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
They're the ones who can manage a ton of different types of construction projects.
Yeah, so they're kind of like an orchestra conductor.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
They're kind of leading everything, making sure all the pieces come together.
Right. But you want to make sure your conductor knows how to play the violin if you're having a violin concerto.
I love that. So yes, they're great for project management, but if you're thinking who to hire to build a deck, you definitely want to make sure they have experience specifically with decks.
Yeah, a lot of experience with decks. Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to ask them like, hey, how many decks have you built? What kind of decks have you built?
Definitely. And that kind of leads us to our next pro, which is a specialized deck builder.
Oh, okay. Tell me about these guys.
So these guys, they just live and breathe decks. That's all they do. Like, those sushi chefs who've dedicated their entire lives to perfecting, one specific type of sushi?
Yeah, the masters.
They're the masters of decks. Like, if you can dream it for your deck, they can probably build it.
So if you have like, some unique vision, maybe you want something super intricate, specific materials, you're thinking who to hire to build a deck. These are your people.
Yeah. They're probably up to date on all the latest trends and all the, coolest, newest materials and stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so then Green Exterior Remodeling also mentions landscape architects. So how do they fit into all this?
So landscape architects, they're really good at the big picture, thinking about how your deck fits in with all the landscaping you already have.
They're kind of like the interior designer of the outdoors.
Yeah, exactly. They can help with the overall design, the flow, making it all look amazing.
So if you're thinking about incorporating things like, built-in planters or maybe even a pergola,
Right.
like you want it to flow with your garden, these are your people.
Yeah, and they can definitely be a great asset to your team, but they may not be the ones you want to hire to actually, lead the construction of the deck itself.
So if you're thinking who to hire to build a deck, they might not be the ones swinging the hammers, but they'll help you figure out which you want to build.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 different types of professionals all bring something different to the table.
Right,
I guess it really comes down to like your needs and your vision.
for sure.
What are you hoping for in your deck? And then you figure out who's the right person to get you there.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of overlap between these guys, too.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So it's not always, clear-cut black and white.
Makes sense. All right, well, let's move on. What else should we be thinking about when I'm trying to figure out who to hire to build a deck?
So regardless of what type of professional you choose, there are some things you really need to look for.
Okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
What are those must-haves?
All right. So first things first, don't be shy about asking to see examples of their previous work, like a portfolio of their decks. And you also want to ask for references.
References are huge.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to see pictures, but you really want to talk to people who have actually worked with this contractor. Ask them, what was it like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, did they stay on budget? Did they finish on time?
Right. Were they easy to work with? Did they communicate well?
Oh, communication. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got portfolio, we've got references. What else?
Licensing and insurance. These are non-negotiables.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to skip that step.
No, you got to make sure they're legit. Licensing ensures they meet certain standards of competence, and insurance protects you and your property in case anything goes wrong during construction.
Right, because you don't want to be stuck with like a half-built deck
Oh, no.
and a bunch of legal problems.
Exactly. You want to feel confident that you're protected if, for example, a worker gets injured on your property.
Okay, so licensing and insurance, check. What about experience?
Yeah, experience is key. Green Exterior Remodeling suggests asking pointed questions about their deck building history.
Yeah, like what materials do they prefer working with?
Exactly. Do they have any specialty? Like maybe they love building curved decks, or they're really good at incorporating built-in seating?
Okay, so you're not just looking for someone who can, like, technically build a deck.
Right.
You're looking for someone who can build the deck that you've been dreaming of.
Exactly. Someone who understands your vision and has the experience to execute it flawlessly.
Okay, makes sense. And speaking of things that can make or break a project, let's talk about communication. Because I've had my fair share of contractor communication nightmares,
Oh, I bet.
like where they just disappear for weeks, no calls, no emails, nothing. It's so frustrating.
Ugh. Yeah, so clear and consistent communication is the foundation of any successful construction project. You want a contractor who listens attentively to your ideas, provides valuable feedback, keeps you informed every step of the way, and is readily available to answer questions and address concerns.
You want to make sure they actually listen to you.
Yes, and that they're good at explaining things.
Yeah, and that they get back to you in a reasonable amount of time.
Exactly. A responsive and communicative contractor makes the entire process much smoother and more enjoyable.
Okay, so we've covered a lot when it comes to who to hire to build a deck. We talked about finding the right type of professional, checking their credentials and experience, and making sure they're good communicators. What else is there?
Well, before you sign on the dotted line, let's talk about something that often makes or breaks a project, the estimate. A savvy homeowner demands a granular breakdown of costs.
Right, because nobody likes surprises when it comes to bills.
Exactly. That's how you avoid those nasty surprises down the line.
So Green Exterior Remodeling emphasizes the importance of getting a detailed estimate that clearly outlines all the costs involved.
Right. It should include not just the cost of materials and labor, but also permits, potential additional expenses, and a clear payment schedule. This level of transparency allows you to budget accurately and gives you a sense of the contractor's professionalism and attention to detail.
Yeah, because you don't want to be caught off guard by hidden fees or like surprise charges.
Exactly. It's all about transparency and clarity.
Okay, so to recap, we've covered a ton of ground in terms of who to hire to build a deck. We've explored the three main types of professionals you might consider: general contractors, specialized deck builders, and landscape architects. And we've emphasized the essential factors to look for in any contractor, regardless of their specialization.
We've also highlighted the critical importance of clear communication, a detailed estimate, and verifying their credentials and experience. Remember, building a deck is a significant investment, so taking the time to find the right professional will pay dividends in the long run.
It sounds like choosing who to hire to build a deck is a bit like putting together a puzzle. You need to find the right pieces that fit your specific vision, budget, and peace of mind.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of finding the right pieces, let's circle back to Green Exterior Remodeling. They provided the excellent insights we've been discussing today, and they happen to be a highly reputable deck contractor based right here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, they sound like they really know their stuff.
They do, and they have a fantastic reputation for quality and client satisfaction. Plus, they specialize in both decks and sunrooms.
Oh wow, double whammy.
Yeah,
So if you're in the Charlotte area and thinking who to hire to build a deck, check them out.
definitely. They're worth a look.
All right, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about different decking materials. You really piqued my curiosity with that master sushi chef analogy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so when you're thinking about who to hire to build a deck,
Right.
you also want to think about the materials they're most comfortable working with.
Exactly. So, like, for example, you might be totally into that classic woods look.
Mhm.
But if you're looking for something that's low maintenance, maybe you want to go with composite decking and find a contractor who specializes in that.
That makes sense. It's like choosing a restaurant based on the chef's signature dishes.
Exactly. And each material has its pros and cons in terms of cost, durability, maintenance, and environmental impact. So it's worth exploring those aspects with potential contractors to see if their expertise aligns with your preferences.
Yeah, it's kind of like figuring out what kind of deck cuisine you're looking for and then finding the chef who specializes in that.
Exactly.
Okay, so to sum up, when it comes to figuring out who to hire to build a deck, you're not just choosing someone to like hammer some boards together. You're selecting a partner who will help you bring your vision to life, from the initial design concept to the final touches.
And as we've discussed, there are many factors to consider: their experience, communication style, portfolio, references, licensing, and insurance. And of course, don't forget to get a detailed estimate that outlines all the costs involved.
Right. Choosing the right professional is an investment in your home, your outdoor space, and your peace of mind. It's about creating a space where you can relax, entertain, and enjoy life to the fullest.
So as you embark on this exciting journey of building your dream deck, remember to ask yourself, what kind of ambience do I want to create? What materials resonate with me? Who to hire to build a deck that truly reflects my style and enhances my outdoor living experience?
Those are great questions to ponder. It's all about envisioning your perfect outdoor oasis and finding the right partner to help you make it a reality. Happy deck building.
So we just talked about three main types of pros who can help you build a deck.
Right, general contractors, specialized deck builders, and landscape architects.
Yeah, exactly. But no matter who you choose, there are some universal things to keep in mind.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, what are some things we should absolutely look for when we're trying to decide who to hire to build the deck?
Well, first of all, you want to see examples of their work, right? A portfolio, photos of decks they've built in the past.
Yeah, for sure.
And just as important, ask for references.
Oh, yeah, references, that's huge.
Huge. Talking to past clients can give you a much better sense of what it's actually like to work with this contractor.
Right, you get the inside scoop.
Exactly. You can find out how they handle problems, how they communicate.
Yeah, did they stay on schedule? Did they stay on budget?
Exactly. It's like reading reviews before you buy something online, but like way more personalized.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so portfolio, references, cut it.
Then you got to make sure they're licensed and insured. This is non-negotiable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just common sense.
Right. Licensing shows they meet certain standards, and insurance protects you if something goes wrong during the project.
Right, you don't want to be liable if, like, a worker gets hurt or something.
Yeah.
Okay, licensing, insurance, check.
Now, let's talk about experience.
Okay, experience, yeah. What should we be asking about that?
Well, Green Exterior Remodeling suggests asking some specific questions about their deck building history.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like, what materials do they prefer using? Do they have any specialties? Like, maybe they're amazing at building curved decks, or they really love doing built-in seating.
Okay, so you're not just looking for someone who can, like, build a basic deck, right? You want to find someone who matches your style.
Exactly. Someone who understands your vision and has the experience to make it happen.
Makes sense.
And, this leads us to another super important point.
Okay.
Communication. This is where things can get really messy if you're not careful.
Oh, tell me about it. I've had some bad experiences with contractors who just don't communicate well.
Oh, yeah. It's so
Like,
frustrating.
they disappear for weeks. You can't get a hold of them. It's a nightmare.
Ugh, yeah. Communication is key. You want someone who listens to you, keeps you updated, answers your questions, and is easy to reach.
Someone who doesn't ghost you for weeks on end.
Exactly. A contractor who communicates well makes the whole process so much smoother.
Okay, I'm totally with you on that one. Communication is key. So we've got finding the right type of professional, checking their portfolio, references, licensing, insurance, experience, and making sure they're good communicators. Anything else?
Yeah, one last thing.
Okay.
The estimate. This is where a lot of projects go off the rail.
Because you don't want any surprises when it comes to costs.
Exactly. You need a detailed breakdown of everything.
So Green Exterior Remodeling talks about this too.
They do. They say you should get a detailed estimate that includes not just materials and labor, but also permits, any potential extra costs, and a clear payment schedule.
Yeah, because you don't want to get hit with hidden fees later on.
Exactly. Transparency is so important.
So basically, don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions.
Tons of questions.
And get everything in writing.
Absolutely. It protects both you and the contractor.
Okay, so that's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's a big decision.
But choosing the right person to build your deck is an investment.
Definitely. It's an investment in your home, your outdoor space.
Your peace of mind.
Exactly.
So I guess the takeaway here is do your research, ask the right questions.
And don't rush the process.
Right. Take your time, find the right fit, and then you can relax and enjoy your amazing new deck.
Exactly.
So it's like you said, choosing who to hire to build a deck is an investment in your home, your outdoor space, your peace of mind. You want a place where you can just relax and enjoy.
Exactly. A place to unwind, maybe have some friends over for a barbecue. It's all about creating that perfect outdoor oasis.
And speaking of finding the right people to help you build that oasis, let's circle back to Green Exterior Remodeling for a sec.
Yeah, we've been talking about all the great advice they offer.
Right. And they happen to be a really well-respected deck contractor in Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's right. They're known for their quality work and happy customers. Plus, they don't just do decks. They also specialize in sunrooms.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So if you're in the Charlotte area and you're trying to figure out who to hire to build a deck,
Yeah,
Green Exterior Remodeling is definitely worth checking out.
for sure. They seem like they really know their stuff.
Okay, now before we wrap things up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about different decking materials.
Oh, yeah.
You had that great analogy about the sushi chef.
Right.
So, like, when you're thinking about who to hire to build a deck,
Uh-huh.
you also got to think about what materials they're most comfortable working with.
Exactly. Like, maybe you love the look of natural wood.
Yeah, classic.
But if you want something low maintenance, you might want to go with composite decking and find a contractor who specializes in that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like picking a restaurant based on, like, the chef's specialty.
Exactly. And each material, it has its pros and cons when it comes to things like cost, durability, maintenance, even environmental impact. So it's worth talking to different contractors and seeing if their expertise lines up with what you're looking for.
So it's all about finding that perfect deck cuisine and then finding the chef who can cook it up for you.
I love that analogy.
All right, so to wrap things up, when it comes to figuring out who to hire to build a deck, It's not just about finding someone to like nail some boards together. It's about finding the right partner to help you bring your vision to life from start to finish.
And as we talked about, there are a lot of things to keep in mind: their experience, communication style, their portfolio, references, licensing, and insurance. And of course, get that detailed estimate.
Right, get everything in writing, make sure you understand all the costs involved.
Exactly.
Choosing the right professional is an investment. You're investing in your home, your outdoor space, and your peace of mind.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you want to create a space that you love, a place where you can relax, entertain, and enjoy life to the fullest.
So as you start planning your dream deck, remember to ask yourself some key questions. What kind of vibe are you going for? What materials really speak to you? Who is the right person to help you build the deck that truly reflects your style and enhances your outdoor experience?
Those are great questions. It's all about envisioning that perfect outdoor space and finding the right partner to help make it a reality.
Well said. Happy deck building, everyone.